The following podcast may contain discussions supported by science that may be considered dangerous to some listeners and conspiracy theorists. Discretion is advised.
The Three Down Greencast is brought to you by Lucky Bastard Distillers, Saskatchewan's premier distillery, and by the Pile of Bones Brewing Company, brewed in the heart of Regina.
Welcome to the Three Down Greencast. You are listening to the internet's only, that was longer than Trevor Harris's Throws podcast. I am Joel Gasson with John Fraser, as usual, as we have plenty to get to, as the Riders suffered what I think is fair to say their worst loss of the season, losing to the Edmonton Elks last week. Previous losses you could kind of talk your way out of in terms of their importance. This was a tough one for the Riders to take, no question about it. We will get into that. We will get into some comments by head coach Corey Mace in terms of what they would do with Trevor Harris should they clinch the West Division's first place spot, which, as far as we can tell, is not possible this week. So interesting timing to ask him that question, but nonetheless. And kicker Brett Lowther will not be playing this week, but maybe not for the reasons one would expect.
Yeah.
Before we get into all that, go on.
And I love that we've already had our annual Is Brett Lowther Bad game, and now it's just continued. So, yeah, that discussion will be happening again. First time with you, because Greg and I had it last time he was real bad, and that just kind of started his downward trend, is me and Greg recording together.
Before we get to that, of course, today we were recording this, I almost said filming, which is not a thing we ever plan on doing.
No, absolutely not.
On Wednesday, October 1st, which happened to be the CFL's trade deadline.
Yes.
At sometime in the afternoon. Don't quote me on the exact time. I don't remember exactly when. So before that, here is a breakdown of all of the news and big trades that happened today in the CFL. Perfect. There we go. That's your completely up to date. If you heard of the Ottawa Calgary trade for Lenzo Malden IV the other day, that was essentially the CFL's trade deadline madness, which was one trade for a defensive end for a fourth round pick a couple of days ago.
Lots of movement. I'm glad we did an all day long special. I still think that one of these years, as a joke, we have to do what we've often just talked about and do a live stream, but it's just you and I playing NCAA football and drinking and like day drinking for the day.
Potentially, yeah. I think we've talked about like there should be like the actual Three Down show where like Dunk and Hodge and JC are doing like the whole actual thing, and they just kind of cut to us every so often and be idiots.
See, that'd be funny. Also, you can tell how much time and preparation the CFL puts into trade deadline coverage. Because while looking up today's best key to the city, and I'll work it in the episode somewhere, if you search trade deadline. The CFL.ca trade deadline has one article from October 9th of 2018 that features a Deron Carter in Argonauts blue, and then another one from October 2nd of 2024. So that is how many articles in the archive of CFL.ca are tagged with trade deadline.
The only one I can really remember the Riders ever making was when they traded Pat Neufeld for Alex Hall.
Yes, yeah, I remember that one. And then Pat Neufeld has been in Winnipeg since.
Yes.
And then the Sergio from Edmonton, was that a deadline deal or was that around the deadline?
I don't remember.
Oh, neither do I. Because I remember, no. It was around the deadline that they got his rights from BC after he'd finished up in the NFL. Yes, I do remember.
He was not there yet.
No. He had not become a mainstay in Winnipeg as he has become. Such as the mainstay in the Ottawa Keys to the City, that is the South African lawn bowling team.
As of course, naturally.
Everyone
is very aware of the South African national lawn bowling team. People are talking about them.
That can break into your city.
Sports Illustrated's talking about them.
maybe in June 19th of 1937 they did, but
maybe.
How does Ottawa end up with a South African lawn bowling team giving them the key to the city? Now, speaking of the keys to the city, awkward spot today. Hey, my hot water heater quit working. So I could not go outside.
So you couldn't use the keys to your house?
No, I just didn't want to leave because I felt like a greasy hermit. And it's funny, I felt
weird about that, as we've discussed. Yep.
Yes, very weird about the fact I don't go out until I've bathed or showered, even though at like midnight last night I gave my head a fresh shave. So, anyways, call the guys. By the way, big shout out, Innovative Heating and Cooling here in Saskatoon, ran by my buddy Scott Faulkner. Pros, well priced, no BS, no hidden fees. If you're in a pickle, call those guys. So I did what I do. I am terrible with home stuff, and I don't really want to be playing with a pilot light on something that has gas that literally has explosion warning on it.
Fair.
So I do as one does. I phone Scott, and I'm like, hey, man, no hot water. Can you come help me out? Yeah, no problem. One of my guys will be right there. So Colin, these guys shows up. Great tech, by the way. Great guy.
This is not a paid ad, by the way. It probably should be, but it's not.
That's hey. Scott usually gives me a discount on my services because we're buddies, so I'm paying it forward. But we, anyway, so he comes on in. And I always feel so awkward when somebody's in working on your house. Like, I almost feel like the urge to, like, help. But then I also feel like the urge, like, I can't just kind of be myself. Like, I can't, like, nap on my couch on my day off, because what if, you know, they need to wake me up for something? Or, like, I feel like I can't be watching, like... Well, definitely not watching foreign films.
No, I was gonna say, where are we going with this?
We're definitely not going there. I mean, that is one thing that comes up as on a day off. Not gonna lie, house is empty. Who doesn't enjoy a foreign film, right? But they're also like, I almost feel like the urge that I need to watch like regular TV. Not that I watch anything weird. But it's like, I need to watch baseball or something. And in fairness, the baseball was on and I want to watch it this afternoon. But, like, am I the only one that just feels odd, like, that I have to, like, represent a certain way? Oh, and not wear, like, my house shorts that are in my current rotation are very short. They're showing off a lot of leg. And I'm like, well, I can't wear those. I got somebody in my house. Like, is this just a John thing or...
I mean, I can't speak for everyone else. This seems like a John thing. Like, this seems like a you can't go out until you've showered thing. Like, it's like you've gone out, but you're inside your own house is exactly how you're acting about this, basically. Minus the fact that you couldn't shower because there was no hot water because you take so many showers and baths that your hot water tank just gave up.
That was part of it, yes, apparently. Usage was a big part of it. And I'm like, yeah, because I have
My
3
father-in-law
kids.
likes to say, like, every sort of, like, hinge or, like, different things only have so many uses before they give out. You don't know how many uses, though. So your hot water tank, you found, at least your pilot light, how many uses it had.
That's fair. And I'm like, well, what? Well, you know, it's just used a lot. I got 3 kids and, you know, doing dishes and laundry and stuff. Not a grown-ass man that needs to shower or bathe sometimes twice daily. But no, I just feel like I have to, like, put on not like a show, but like act like I'm not a serial killer while somebody's inside my house. Like, I don't, like, I was going to start watching a true crime documentary. And I'm sitting there on my chair in my living room going, well, no, I don't want to do that. What if all of a sudden it's like a scene that somebody's getting murdered? This guy comes up and he's like, hey, man, can you authorize this repair? And it's like you're watching somebody just get cut into pieces. Like, I feel like I'm like, you can't be doing anything weird. This person's in your house. I don't know. I am curious. This is like, you know,
I can say I generally, I mean, act maybe a little bit differently, but yeah, like a few weeks ago we had a plumber here because there was an issue with our shower. I was still in my house shorts. I was still just watching whatever. I was here one day when they were renovating our pantry and I was just hanging out here. In the future, in the next few weeks, we're in the process of getting our basement finished and I will be in the house because my schedule is changing in the next little bit. A day a week while they're doing that. I don't know. I don't find anything weird about it.
No, I totally do. I feel like I cannot be myself. I definitely feel like I can't just like nap.
I mean,
like,
maybe that's fair. I don't know.
Like that's the big one.
It's to begin with, so that doesn't bother me. But
yeah. Well, again, three kids and a dog, and they all like, and none of mine go to bed in a timely fashion. So it's like the day off nap is like the one chance at recovery for the week. So the day off nap has become essential. It's not long. It's a solid, like, I have a timer on my watch, solid hour 45. But if somebody's in your house that might need your attention, that's not like, you know, like Lacey or the kids that know to just wake me up, I just feel like that'd be weird. Like, I just put myself in that situation that, like, hey, can you okay this repair? And somebody's like drooling on the couch.
I mean, I think not taking a nap while something like that is happening is entirely fair. Like, I mean, unless you're homesick from work that day and feeling like garbage, then yes, if that's what you need to do to get through the day, then it's probably fine. But generally, yeah, like if you're okay, then yeah, I think not taking a nap is, you know, sort of expected. But the rest of what you're talking about, I think you're just way overthinking it.
Okay. That's fair. See, but it is funny. If I know the person doing the work in my house, I'm less weird about it. Right? Like, my friend Robert is helping finish my basement. And same thing. It was a random Monday I had off, and I was napping. And I guess the difference is, too, is Robert has the keys to my house, just comes right in and fixes stuff. And it's like, oh, I don't feel bad about napping. I know you, right? So do we have another weird Johnism?
It seems like we do. And apparently there is also keys to John's house on top of keys to the city.
However, fewer people certainly have those. Although, no. The number of people that have keys to my house, more people have keys to my house than London or Markham have given out keys to the city.
Cool. Good for London and Markham for actually being like picky about this thing.
Yes, except they're oddly, like, not picky because London's is Nazem Kadri.
I'm sure there's a reason for that.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's not Stone Cold Steve Austin because he appeared once and lost. As your very first key. I still love that about Hamilton.
Yes, and I love that it let us down. Or like Edmonton, again, Edmonton going only with Wayne Gretzky. And they might be having some regretskis about that. No, they don't. He's still Wayne fucking Gretzky.
Given some of the politics in Edmonton, and around Alberta. Someone who's not getting a key to the city just anytime soon, at least based on one game, would be Riders quarterback Trevor Harris. So we will get into the Riders' loss to Edmonton and a whole bunch more. But as always, John, before that, for the Pile of Bones Brewing Company, what is in the glass this week?
Sorry, Pile of Bones. It's a double Lucky Bastard week. I'm going with one of the few remaining Saskatoon Berry iced teas that are in my fridge. They're delicious, delightful, tart, not too sweet. I'm now finding I'm making them much more of a year-round drink, and I can't wait to taste the Blue Hawaiian. And then, of course, as tradition goes, if it's not Malort, it's just a good old glass of vodka.
For me, I have grabbed from the Multinational Brewing Company, one of my favorites, their Continuity Error Stout. It is a stout 6.5% with cocoa nibs, tonka beans, and vanilla.
I think I'd like that.
It's not super roasty, and it's got some sweetness to it. Like it's just a good solid sort of stout with just a little hint of sweetness.
I think I'll have to give that a whirl.
The Riders would love to have another whirl at their game this past week against the Edmonton Elks. Oof. As the result was obviously a little bit surprising, but the start of the game and the fact that it took them a while to get going was not a surprise to me. I believe I wrote it in the Picks on 3 Down Nation that I expected the Riders to start slow and then eventually sort of find their legs and get things going, as they tend to do after a bye week. I definitely said as much on CBC last week. But I anticipated that they would figure out, and they kind of did, but not until there was about 3 minutes left in the game. So it might have been a little too late at that point, but it was a rough game, and it was a tough game to watch. And it's one of those games where I wouldn't say, defensively the Elks played pretty well, but overall, both teams played kind of shitty to the point where it's like, okay, neither of these teams were particularly good. It was close for a while because no one was really doing a whole lot, and that's a rough look on the Riders when you consider you kind of expect that from Edmonton, a team that is in all likelihood going to miss the playoffs. You don't expect that from the first place team in the league.
No, certainly. And that was a typical case of playing down to their level. And when you've had a full bye week to rest, you generally expect a team to come out, maybe a little rusty, but kind of get sharp. But yeah, it was an ugly game. And the thing that blew me away, and I watched this one on PVR, follow along the whole time. But I like to, the day you and I record, I like to just watch the 15-minute, CFL.ca highlight recap.
Yeah.
Which is great. I love it. It's a nice way to bring yourself back up to speed on the game. And Trevor Harris looked terrible. Mm-hmm. It was an ugly game on both sides. Both defenses had their moments.
I would say the defense played well until about 10 minutes left in the game. They kept them in that game. They was close only because the defense for so long. And eventually they just had a couple, I said it in my piece after the game, for most of the game, I thought in my head it was going to be, at least the defense played well. So the defense will be good. The defense will be the good of this game because they clearly rebounded from a rough game against Montreal and everything would be okay. And then they gave up a couple of big busts to Justin Rankin and to, some receivers. And it was just okay, well, there goes that.
Well, and
because it wasn't like they just kind of, things just kind of snowballed. And even so, there was just some really big moments where they needed plays and just didn't get them, and it was I still wouldn't say overall the defense was quote unquote bad, but they were bad at bad times, and that was enough to make them not a feel good story of the game.
Well, and I think there was a lot of exposure for the Riders secondary still.
Yeah.
I think if there's one spot on this Rider team that there's zero depth, it's at defensive back. And we've seen that in the two games here, against Montreal. They're throwing a guy out there that's basically never played it at this level.
Or a lower level.
I know. It was a messy, ugly situation for a guy. And then this one, again, back to the recap, you see them getting torched deep over and over and over again, right? The defensive line, Rankin's good. He's very, very good.
They shut him down for 3/4 of the game. Yeah. He only had 80 yards, and 30 of them came in one run in the fourth quarter. So, they did their job on him for most of the night. They just gave up the play at the wrong time, unfortunately.
Which, when your offense keeps turning over the ball, you're on the field for quite a bit of time, especially a hard-nosed running back.
They weren't. The Riders had 10 more minutes of possession than the Elks did.
No. Really?
Yes. Yes, they did. They had, it was 9 minutes and change, so it was almost 10 minutes more time of possession they had in that game. So it's not even your token defensive line is beat up after a long night of being on the field. That also played into the defense wasn't actually the good of this game anymore. It was the fact that, there's still, every defense, no matter what, is going to wear down as the game goes on, but it wasn't to the point where they were being so badly outgained that you just knew it was eventually going to crack. But yeah, it was one of those games where they moved the ball fairly well at times on offense. I think especially early on, they had, the driver Trevor Harris threw 2 interceptions was decently long,
in one drive,
and then there was the inexcusable fumble from Keyshawn Johnson in the red zone that really sort of set that game in the other way. If he doesn't do that, maybe they at least kick a field goal and things kind of just normalize from there and nothing too bad happens. But yeah, they held on the ball for a long time. They just didn't do a whole lot with it. And this is where, I think, before we get into the play of Trevor Harris, I do want to note the play of A.J. Ouellette.
Yes,
I was surprised to learn, looking up the stats after the game, that was only his second 100-yard rushing game of the season.
And it's the first time he's gone for over 100 and lost a game in his career.
Yeah, but the second time this season he's gone over 100 yards. But he's second in the league in rushing, and it's not like it's a bad year for running backs. He's over 1,000 yards. He's got pretty good numbers this year. But he's only broken 100 twice, which speaks to how consistent he's been. If you look at his game log, other than a couple of games for the most part, he's basically in a very good 70 to 90-yard range, which if you're getting that from your running back every single game, consistently every week is good. And I just felt it was important to point that out, that he played well, and I thought to the point where even early on in the game, it felt like, okay, this is going to be the A.J. Ouellette game. This felt like the game where they should just lean on him, and it's not going to be super high scoring, but if they lean on him, they will eventually wear out the Elks to the point that they will be able to take over this game and win at will, and they stuck with him to like enough. Obviously, they got 100 yards, but not to the degree that I thought they should have. And I'm not a establish it, run the ball kind of guy, but like clearly it was working in that game, and it's something that even I would say you probably should have given it to AJ more.
Well, again, you and I never pretend to be football experts on this podcast, but you and I also watch a shitload of football, right? And
you and I have also been coming into this season two of AJ Olette's biggest critics.
Oh, 100%.
So, like, I've been fully admitted that I was 100% wrong about him this season, many times. And we'll continue to do so as long as he's playing well.
Well, and that's it. He's been just so damn consistent all year. I'm looking at the numbers right now, and but to me, to the point that you and I watch a lot of football, and I think this moves us into the Trevor Harris talk.
Yeah.
That to our untrained eye, Trevor Harris looked bad.
Yes.
He played.
And I will peel back the curtain a little bit here.
Yes.
In the 3 Down Nation, sort of the larger group chat with everyone, I suggested, is this Trevor Harris's worst game of the year? And it got a 100 emoji from one Justin Dunk, who has played quarterback at a high level, so I think he sees if a quarterback's playing poorly or not.
Yeah, that man, if Justin Dunk agrees with us on quarterback play, our opinion's probably right on this one. It just seemed to me like it just
not
seemed
only his
like,
worst game of the year, like it may have been his worst game as a rider.
I would agree. If you look at the numbers, you can glaze over them, but the fact is, like his passes, like there was no zip on any of them, and he hasn't had a ton of zip on his passes. But you can tell when Trevor Harris is dialed, there's a certain amount of speed that's coming out with him. Like it just looked like everything had too much loft, and everything was just kind of floating. And if you watch the game recap, the guys, and kudos to the Riders receivers.
Yes,
Trevor Harris was throwing in a double, triple coverage, and those guys were going up and getting it.
Yeah, or he was throwing into down into the dirt, and some of them are going down to get it. And that's the thing that I knew that it was not a good day at the office for Trevor Harris was, like he was tossing them low and short and hitting the rubber pellets because it's not really dirt anymore unless they're in Toronto. And he was also sort of sailing them over their heads, and it felt very much like a pitcher struggling to find his release point. And it got into his head clearly, and he was just overthinking it both ways, and he just couldn't find the spot because that's what he needs now. He's not going to be able to go out there and just cannon a ball into a guy's chest when he needs to. He needs to find the perfect release point, and for the most part, I would say this year he's done it, and he could not find it in that football game.
And it's funny reading the comments that he claims I'm rested enough. I haven't played the past couple years.
Yeah.
I think to the untrained eye, it's clear that there's something going on as the season wears on because he hasn't played that many games the past couple of years, right? No.
I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt right now. If he comes out this week against Ottawa and plays just as poorly, even if they win, I'll be like, I don't know if you're 100% being 100% truthful here.
No.
If he comes out and plays well and everything looks hunky-dory again, and be like, okay, it was just a bad game for Trevor Harris, which he is allowed to have. Everyone is clearly allowed to have it.
Right. And as healthy as he is, at the end of the day, dude's 40.
Yeah,
right?
But yes.
Right? Round one, I guess I could say the same thing. Like, me and Trevor Harris are the same age. And again, I am nowhere near trained like an elite athlete or an athlete at all. I am an above average.
Not even a low average athlete.
Whoa. When we talk curling...
Professionally speaking.
Oh, professionally speaking. Yeah, fuck no. But in terms of curling, I'm better than the most. But it's just, I don't know if he's hurt or something's just nagging like it does. I mean, hell, something nags when I get out of bed, right? That's part of the joys. And I mean, you've heard guys like Peyton Manning say it. I mean, Tom Brady, was stealing everybody's souls with that 1,000-yard stare of his. So he never experienced that. But there's been a couple games he's looked like this.
Yeah.
And he has bounced back. So I don't think... It's time to sound the alarm. There just
isn't the room for error that he once had in terms of his sort of the zip on his football, right?
Right.
Like his location has to be on point, and it just wasn't in that game.
Well, then it seemed like he was forcing it too much because go back
because it's like anything. Like he's a human being. Like when you are playing a sport and you consider yourself pretty good at that sport, when things aren't going well, it tends to mess with your brain, right? And as much as you try to say, hey, stop thinking about it, just go out there and play, it can be pretty hard to do that in the moment when things are really spiraling, especially in a game that you should be winning.
And this is why even my club-level men's curling team has a coach.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, for that literal exact reason. So, it was tough. It was tough to watch. It was his worst game. But the only thing that would worry me of the whole thing was the decision making.
Yeah.
Like you don't have it, and he seems like he's adapted to the quarterback that he is these days. But lots of throws in a double coverage, lots of throws in a triple coverage. That if you don't have the embarrassment of riches that he has at receiver. It probably, if Zach Collaros is making those throws, or hell, just about any, I think the Riders receivers are tops in the league, the entire core. If any other quarterback's making those throws, I think a lot of those are picked off, knocked down, not complete, right? So it will be interesting to see here in Ottawa, because I think this Ottawa game has gone from maybe your free bingo space where you sit guys out to you need to win to get back on track, as the team has lost 2 games in a row for the first time all season. Mm-hmm. And as you said, and I 100% agree with you, the Calgary losses we could justify because Calgary's just a bad matchup.
Yeah,
right?
Like Calgary at the time were world beaters, and now that they've lost a couple of defensive linemen and they look very average. So there was clearly something at play there with their defense in terms of those 2 guys were that good that they basically dominated teams. The Montreal game we talked about was a trap game. You could talk yourself out of that scenario. This was a game coming off a bye against an Edmonton team, granted under some different circumstances that maybe gave them a little bit of extra juice with the passing of their owner. Was a game that they frankly still should have won. I didn't necessarily, at this point of the year, I don't care about style points per se. Early in the year, we talk about process over results and et cetera,
yes.
sort of building. We're pretty much past that point at this point now, where you just need results. And
yes,
they did not get the result that they needed in that game. But I don't think it's necessarily all bad at this point.
Oh, no, certainly.
They're still first in the West. They still control their own destiny. All of that is still on the table. There's 4 games left. They win a couple of them. They should be locked into first place in the West. Though we could argue whether the bye is actually a good thing for them at this point. I don't know. But, this little bump in the road could ultimately be a good thing. And I hate silver linings and all that stuff, especially this time of year. But rarely does a team go on to win the Grey Cup that basically has a smooth sailing season. And yes, you're still going to lose games throughout the course of the year. But if you don't experience some kind of losing streak, some kind of, sort of bad sort of streak, you generally don't win the Grey Cup because you don't really know how to fight your way out of a tough situation. At some point during the playoffs, you're going to have to do it. Even if you only have to play 2 games to do it, at some point it's probably coming up. So you got to be able to fight your way out. And so this is where this team is at right now. So they're at the fork in the road. There's the meme where there's the sunshine on one side where they find their way out. This makes them a stronger, better football team, and maybe they go on to win the Grey Cup. Or there's the dark side where maybe they peaked too early this year, and this could be the start of something that leads to an early end.
Certainly. And you can see teams losing that don't face adversity. I mean, that's been a tale as old as time in football, right?
Mm-hmm. I think it's especially true in the CFL. I think in the NFL, there's enough talent on very good teams to talent your way to a Super Bowl win. There just isn't in the CFL.
Minus the Peyton Manning era Colts. That to me is always the example of the team that went Death Star mode all year, got punched in the mouth in the playoffs and couldn't do anything.
Peyton Manning was even a big game player, so yeah.
No, but he did have some decent numbers in big games, but
every Super Bowl he won was on the backs of an elite defense.
And with some crazy shenanigans happening. I mean, in fairness,
one year he played the freaking Chicago Bears. Come on.
The Rex Grossman-led Chicago Bears, exactly. May I add.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the CFL. You're right. You look at the 2023 season.
Yeah.
Remember that Toronto was 16-2, and
the East Division the last 2 years is the perfect example of this.
Right.
Same 2 teams, same scenario, just scripts reversed. You saw the outcomes, right?
Right, and even I'd even argue that 2023 Winnipeg team didn't go through any adversity, and they just, pooped their pants when they ran into Montreal.
24 they did. And then, they could have won that Grey Cup if Mike O'Shea didn't make a weird decision to keep a quarterback with one hand out there.
Yeah.
Well, and the 2019 Bombers are like the example of a team that went through it in the regular season and won, right?
Well, that's it. An 11-7 Winnipeg team that, comes a Cody Fajardo doink away from, being eliminated in the West Final, right? So there is merit to that. And especially, I think so in football more than any other sport. Like,
other seasons are so long, you're just going to go through it at some point regardless. You're not going to go through an entire NHL or Major League Baseball or NBA season without some form of adversity at some point or another. There's just too many games. You're going to hit a losing streak. It's just going to happen, right?
82, 84 games, whatever it is. But I remember, I remember in hockey. I remember there was one Toronto Maple Leafs team that hadn't lost more than 3 games in a row in the regular season, and it goes down 3-rip to Carolina or something like that, right? So they're cursed no matter what. But you're right.
How many President's Trophy winners in the NHL actually win the Stanley Cup? Now, granted, their playoffs are a bad example because it's all luck and bullshit. But
No, certainly. I mean, even I think you look at the NFL, and the NFL, even the best teams seemingly go through it, right? Like the one exception. I mean, even you look at the Patriots that were trying to go undefeated for the season, that had Randy Moss and Tom Brady at both their peaks, and they still lost to the Super Bowl to Eli Manning and the New York Giants, twice actually. So this is good. I'm with you. I don't like. After 2 losses in a row.
The timing of it makes it more difficult. If this were a month ago, you could be like, okay, they're going through it right now, but there's time to get through this. Now now they're like, ooh, you're going through this, and it's,
I'd almost argue, though, the timing's okay.
Okay.
Only because of what Calgary has done. Right,
but at the same time, Calgary is kind of spiraling backwards. Winnipeg, I'm not entirely sold on being back yet, but the BC Lions are there right now. There's no question about where that team is trending right now. So I would be scared as hell of them.
You want BC in the crossover?
Yes, or you want BC to somehow completely blow it in the West Semi.
Right, but I don't even think that happens. Like I think the best looking team in the West as we're sitting here heading into Week 18 is the BC Lions.
Yeah, no question.
I know the Riders' record is there.
I put them number 1 in my CFL power rankings this week.
100%. I would certainly agree with that. Right.
Most of our colleagues, I think put Montreal. I'm not quite there. Like Montreal, I think I put Montreal 2 because BC's been more consistently good for a longer period right now. Montreal easily could be there in a week or two though, with the return of Davis Alexander.
Well, that's it. No, I'm 100% with you. But to me, the scariest team in the league right now is BC, and you're almost hoping that
they had a poor game and still almost scored 30 points. They sneeze and score 40 points. Like, this is a team that is just insanely talented on offense, and their pass rush is getting going at the right time.
Yeah, it's amazing watching what they're doing to other quarterbacks right now. But and see, I almost say this is. I think this lull might be caused by the success, right?
It could be very well. Yep.
Because you look at the Winnipeg teams that won back-to-back in 2019, 2021, and the Winnipeg teams that were good, they had this lull right around this time of the season. And again, I know coach speak will always be, 1-0, we want to go, but it's human nature, right? You've built yourself this cushion where, okay, now we're playing Montreal. We just had 2 big wins, and we're back off the bye week. Like, to me, the real test is at Ottawa. If you play down to Ottawa's level even a little bit, sound the alarm. Right? Like, to me, you need to go out and absolutely prove you are worthy of your 10-4 record against Ottawa this week.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. Like, I think had they gone in and handled business against Edmonton,
even grinded out a win, even if they don't call the goal line fade, which was the worst thrown ball of the night, even if Brett Lowther isn't complete dog shit and now going to 1-game island with his back injury, like. Even if you would have just handled your business and won,
then I think you could make the argument of, okay, they're going into Ottawa. Ottawa's clearly done for the year, but that's sort of in a way freeing. And like teams play looser sometimes that way. Back-to-back road games. You're going east this time after time in the West. You could almost talk yourself into the Riders potentially losing that game in Ottawa. But now, after the way the things win against Edmonton, it's like, no, they have to be mad, they have to be angry, and they have to go in there and they have to put their foot down on Ottawa early and just win that game through will.
Well, certainly. And because now Calgary's only 2 wins behind you.
Yeah.
I mean, that Calgary-BC game, to me, is going to be the highlight of the weekend. Right?
That's going to be incredible. I can't wait for that game.
Yeah, that's going to be a great contest. 2 teams both nipping at the heels of the Riders, playing each other. Meanwhile, the Riders got to go take care of business because, again, you like you said, you're out east. Out east has always been weird for Western teams. And then you're back home to Toronto. You're at Winnipeg. And then, to me, if you win this game and BC wins like we think they should, I'm pretty good at math. I'm not super good at math. But
you're not in finance anymore.
That's great. Now I just go tell people. Now I just go to people, be like, "Hey, what do you got cooking today? Hey, would you like to buy the car?" That's my job now. But to me, if you can beat Ottawa, Calgary wins. I think one more win in the West Final's yours.
Yeah.
Just doing quick math as I'm almost done my vodka. Somebody please correct me. Dave, looking your way.
Yeah. So I mean, we're up against it now. Like they just. I think it's weird to say that a game going into Ottawa as the undisputed worst team in the league is. I've stopped short of saying must win, but it is a very important win, I guess is the way to say it. Because it's not the end of the world, so to speak, if they lose, but it certainly makes things difficult and is an interesting situation that is suddenly developing because, unless there is a tie, one of Calgary or BC is going to win and is going to be right on your heels. So, they have to find a way to win this football game this week. That's all there is to say about that, quite frankly.
Certainly, and they have to look good. To me, they have to look good doing it so you can quell the fears. And as well, let's face it, the Trevor Harris issues are related to age or nursing an injury, right? Winning in Ottawa, because the fact Calgary and BC are playing each other, unless Calgary beats BC, now we're opening up the door to something that got discussed today. Could you rest Trevor Harris for a game?
Maybe. I mean, Calgary does hold the tiebreaker, so they don't actually have to pass the Riders to win the West, right?
No, that's fair. But I mean, so if BC wins, Saskatchewan wins, you are at 11, they're at 8, there's 4 games to go. And
Winnipeg's still in the equation, though, technically. So.
Right, but I mean, Saskatchewan's got the tiebreak against Winnipeg, too, right? Like, to me, as soon as you clinch, like, your path to clinching is so much stronger with this Ottawa win than it would be without it. Like,
no question. No question.
And again, it's like you said, it's not must win. We're not about hyperbole here, but it's an important win. I like calling it that. And it may open, because to me, from what I've seen from Trevor Harris a couple games this year, the dude needs a game or 2 off. I don't care what he's saying at practice. The dude needs a game, maybe 2 off if you can give it to him before the playoffs.
I mean, maybe the concern is he looked like that coming out of a bye week. So he had essentially a game off, and it was his worst game of the year. So maybe he's just better with rhythm. Maybe he's better when he's out there more and is actually playing, and he sort of gets into the rhythm of playing each game, and that helps him sort of stay in that space. I don't know, because his worst games all year have been coming off the bye. The game against Hamilton, like, he should have been picked off a bunch. The game against Calgary, he had a rough start there too. Like, all of these games off of byes have been rough for him, and this is one of the ones that actually bit them for it, quite frankly. And a lot of issues this team has been having all year, whether it's slow off the bye, busts in coverage on defense, and Brett Lowther's kicking, all sort of came to play in that game because, I mean, Brett Lowther missed a couple of kicks that, if they make those, they could have won that football game, right? So
yes, 100%.
They were bound to have one of those games where everything that's been their sort of Achilles heel all year was eventually going to cost them, and they sort of all appeared in one game, and it cost them that game.
Well, and yeah, you're hoping that certainly doesn't happen in the postseason, but you're bang out on that, Gas, and that's I see Trevor Harris and I go, he's worn out. He's saying he's not worn out, and that's just, again, watching football kind of what I think. You're definitely right on the bye week observation, more so than I am on the conventional wisdom of the whole thing. But it is interesting. You bring up Brett Lowther, and it's funny how much we've talked about him not being good this year, and it hasn't burned them, and this one burned them. And now you mentioned the old meme, the sunshine and rainbows on one side and the dark, scary castle on the other side. And I think that's kind of where the Riders are with kicking right now, because we've seen it, and we've talked about it, and with some insight from conversations with guys like Jorgen Hughes, that when it gets cold, the ball, you have to be more technically perfect to hit the ball in the way to make it go real far than you do when it's nice and warm and sunny outside. So,
well, it's just like hitting a baseball, right? Like there's far more home runs in the summer than there is in the winter,
which almost makes playoff baseball so much better.
Yeah,
because every hit is much more meaningful, but. It bit them in the butt. This was not a good one, and there's going to be a couple changes that we're going to see. We're going to see Brett Lowther on the one-game list, and we get it. New punter and new kicker. We're full sickos mode this weekend here, Gas.
Well, we saw the punter last week. Mirko made his debut last week. He was also the holder, which was a thing they keep doing now. So Brett Lowther has had to deal with, a change to holder this season, another holder again later in the season, but clearly that's not an excuse. But yes, what we really want to be talking about this time of the year is definitely changes in kickers, no question.
Yeah, because you definitely don't need a guy you can count on when it comes down to it during playoff time.